Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. In today's video we're going to be covering some of the bigger events that happened this weekend because while major upset was already covered on this channel, there was a lot of pretty stacked tournaments that happened this weekend. So we're going to be going over KawaiiCon and Battle for the South, but I do want to give shoutouts to SkyJ for winning the final RyoCon as well as Javi for getting second, actually getting a set win on SkyJ in the Grand Finals. SkyJ has been on the top of his game lately and this is another nice little tournament win for him. You also have Sonics winning Gamecast Arena over Toguru without dropping a game. As far as I can tell, he was incredibly dominant, but Sonics is looking to be in contention for #1 in the world. Such a strong player, and he's someone that's a really big threat. And finally, I want to give a shout out to Umeki for winning Ryubura over players like Takara and Jagaimo. Umeki is also a major threat in Japan right now that's been doing very well. The best Daisy player in the world because, Muides is on that page, but he has been absolutely dominant in Japan, and all these players have had a really strong start to 2023 and are looking to carry that later on in the year. Now, the first tournament that I want to take a look at is going to be KawaiiCon. This tournament was insanely top-heavy. You had Pao and Big Stu in 7th place, Pao playing Steve, and Big Stu playing Kazuya. In 5th place, you had Small Left and Void, Small Left playing Aegis, then Void playing a combination of Sheik and Fox, though mainly Sheik. In 4th place, you had Ban and Anime with Robin, which I will get back to, but that's insane. In 3rd place, you had Mars with, of course, Zero Suit. 2nd place, Gluto with Wario. And 1st place, you had Tweak. From what I could tell, he used only Diddy Kong this tournament, but maybe in the pool side he busted out a little bit of a Sephiroth. But I want to talk about Bon and Anime because what an insane run. Also, sorry if I'm butchering that name, I probably am, but he lost to Small Left fairly early on. It was in the pool side of it, and then made a crazy losers run, tearing through the losers bracket, was able to 3-0 Void with Robin. Robin is not a good character. They still have some strength, of course, and when you're able to play to Robin's strengths, you can do very well, like we saw here. Like, when Robin has Leathern Sword and is able to use their abilities correctly, they can do some insane stuff. The resource management from Ban and Anime was incredibly impressive. Really just insane game for him. Some of the best Robin I've ever seen, and Robin isn't too common of a character, so they're definitely in contention for the best Robin in the world with this run. I hope we get to see more of them because this was just incredibly impressive. Now, unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with the Hawaiian scene like I am some other scenes, but the highest placing Hawaiian player at this event was Small Left, of course tied with Void, who's also technically a Hawaiian player, but Small Left is still in Hawaii, at least he is to my knowledge, and he did very well this event. He's such a good player there. I believe he is ranked #1. His best event before this was probably 33rd at Big House or 5th at the previous KawaiiCon, but Small Left is such an incredible player. He played PT before this, so it's a little sad to see him going to the dark side for that Aegis, but both characters are incredibly broken in bracket. He just looked really promising here. He had a decent set with Gluto. Gluto did win pretty dominantly, but also Gluto's been playing against the best Aegises in the world for a very long time, so you can't feel too bad about that. He also had an amazing run. Again, he beat Ban and Anime, who ended up beating Void, who beat Spargo. So in that chain reaction, Small Left technically beat Spargo. Hey, I don't make the rules, but this guy is incredibly talented, and when he travels to some more majors, he's definitely someone that should be on your radar. But now let's talk about the big three at this tournament: Mars, Tweak, and Gluttony. It starts off in the winner's semis where Mars is able to beat Gluttony, getting his run back against him at Genesis, and then Tweak and Mars meet in winners finals after Tweak defeats Void. And oh my lord, what an amazing set. This is the closest Mars has ever come to beating Tweak. He was 1 or 2 hits away in that game 5. Such a banger. I highly recommend you watch this set. Then in the losers finals, Gluto gets his run back on Mars right away. Doesn't have to wait for another tournament this time. Gets his run back, another 3-1. And in grand finals, you have a game 10 set between Tweak and Gluttony, which Tweak is able to close out. Tweak gets reverse 3-0'd the first set, and he is kind of dominant in the games that he wins in the second set. It's a couple 2 stocks. Gluttony is still winning games, of course, because he did take 2 games, but especially the last 2 that Tweak won, he just looked amazing. He kicked in some ultra instant gear, and Tweak finally able to get a win on Gluto. It's been a little bit. Gluto's been one of those players that's been able to beat Tweak fairly consistently, so I know Tweak must be feeling good about that. Has that big sponsorship win as well after being picked up by LG. So this is one of the best grand finals I have seen, just period in Ultimate. If you have the time, it is a bit of a long set, but it is high octane action. I would highly recommend you watch it. This set just had a lot of highlights. This whole tournament had a lot of highlights. A really amazing tournament. Again, if you want to see some really high level Robin gameplay, which you're really not going to see anywhere else, I'd highly recommend watching Gluttony, Bound, and Naminé as well, because Bound and Naminé was actually able to take a game off Gluto, a top 10 player in the world with Robin. Just simply incredible. KawaiiCon was an amazing tournament, and you got to give huge props to Tweak for overcoming that demon, clutching out versus Mars, and getting his first win under LG. Now we're going to be moving on to Battle for the South 2023, and again, I don't know a ton about the Hawaiian scene, so if there's any massive upsets or players players that need to be highlighted that I missed from QuaiCon, please just let me know down below. But on to Battle of the South. In 13th place, you had Peanut, Junipi, Teaser, and Beast Mode Paul. In 9th place, you had Vendetta, Omega, Jazo, and Ave. In 7th place, you had Mutace and Kobe. 5th place, you had MPG and Peanut. 4th place, Anathema. 3rd place, Goblin. 2nd place, Lima. And in 1st place, Apollo Kage. We're going to be talking about a couple runs before the top 16 and then everyone that made top 16. In 13th place, you had Peanut, Juanpi, Teaser, and Beast Mode Paul. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering Juanpi. Sorry about that, but he got wins on Mazana and Teaser. Teaser win is a really big win. Teaser in contention for best Samus player in North America and honestly in the world. Teaser's kind of crazy, and he only lost to Mutace and Goblin. Those are two very good losses. Some of the best players at this tournament, so can't feel too bad about that one. A really good place for them. You also had Peanut, one of the most consistent players in the world with Little Mac, who got wins on a size Lex. I don't know how Peanut is this consistent with this character. It doesn't make sense, because that's Little Mac's whole gimmick. You know, sometimes he's going to steal a set away from you. He's a glass cannon, but Peanut just didn't hear that. He's ladder comboing you off the top. He does not care. It is absolutely unreal how consistent this guy is with this character. You also have Teaser in 13th with wins on Sonito and Taupe. Teaser is just incredible. He's such a good player, one of the best Samuses in the world. Like I said earlier, it's really, really impressive how good he is. Samus is just such a good character in the current meta as well. And then finally in 13th place, you have Beast Mode Paul, one of the best heroes in the world, who got wins on Chunky Kong and Turtles. I love Hero. I just love Hero so much in this game. He is such a cool character that we really don't get to see enough, because Hero is low-key super broken, and you get to see that when players like Beast Mode Paul play. When they have the buff, it is simply unreal how broken this character is. So big shout-outs to Beast Mode Paul. He played out of his mind, and huge shout-outs to everyone else that got 13th. In 9th place, you had Ave, Jazo, Omega, and Vendetta. Starting off with Ave, who had a really strong losers run with wins on Zap, Untamed, BOMC or BMOC, not super sure how you say that, and Beast Mode Paul. Ave played out of their mind, as well as doing it with Mario. We had Mario see a lot of success this weekend. You know, Ludo and Kurama doing very well at Major Upset. Now you have Ave doing very well at Battle for the South. And it's weird because Mario feels like a character that shouldn't be doing well in this meta. You know, you have these massive campers as well as characters with huge disjoints doing well, but Mario seems to find a way. Same thing with Ice Climbers. I guess Ice Climbers kind of one of the characters that actually buffs Mario super hard, but huge shoutouts to Ave. They did incredible. Then you have Jazo as well with wins on Untamed, Axel, and Teaser, as well as a very close set with Anathema. That was such a banger. Jazo is just so incredible. Probably the best cannon in the world. Maybe him or Takara, honestly, but I feel like Takara is shifting more and more to Ryu, as players should, because, you know, Ryu is, spoilers, the better character. You have Omega as well with wins on Beast Mode Paul and Taupe, as well as an incredibly close set with Apollo Kage. That was an Omega banger, no pun intended. Omega's such a good player, one of the best jokers in the world. I mean, Georgia is just a crazy region. It's probably Georgia or Tri-State that's just the best solo region in the world, or like smaller one. Like, it is actually insane how good they are. And finally, you have Vendetta with wins on Zap, Yu, and Peanut. Vendetta also in contention for best Shoto in the world in Ken. You have Osimo definitely for that Ryu title, but Ken, it's a little bit more in the air, and Vendetta and Jazo, both strong candidates for it, both tying this weekend and both playing out of their minds. In 7th place, you have Kobe and Mutace, starting off with Kobe, who got wins on Ave and Mutace. Let's go, Kobe. Oh my lord, this guy is so good. All these youngling players are so good. You have Suinoko, you have Toast, you have Skittles, you have Kobe, and many more. There's so many amazing youngling players, and they just don't go to anything. And now Kobe, he went to this event. He did incredibly well. Got a huge Mutace win. We just saw Mutace tear it up at Summit, get some massive wins. Huge shouts to Kobe. Just really, really impressed by him. Youngling is such a broken character. And then you have Mutace with a bit of an underperformance, but still getting wins on Omega, Juanpi, and Hore. It sucks. Mutace is going to underperform sometimes. I don't know if it was a hand issue or if he just wasn't playing super well. Both are definitely possible. Peach as well is just a very tough character in bracket, but still not a bad placement. When you're getting 7th at a stacked regional like this, it really shows how talented of a player you are. When you look at that, it's like, oh, that's kind of an underperformance. Mutace is incredible, and I'm sure he bounces back pretty quickly. In 5th place, you had MPG and Peanut, two Mega Man players, starting off with MPG with wins on Jazo and Lima. That Lima win is massive, especially considering how well Lima did this week, and we'll talk about that for a bit. But MPG, a consistent threat. We've seen him get probably his best performance at top 3 at Apex, and then Peanut as well. Not someone that's unfamiliar to the top 3s of tournaments, with a 2nd place at Riptide with wins on Vendetta and Anathema here. Both these guys are just incredible, and you know I love some good Mega Man gameplay. Mega Man is such a sick character. The movement with this character is unreal. I love how Sawblade works. I'm just a fan of items in this game in general, but the way both these guys played is really well. All their sets were very close, even the ones that they lost. It was definitely doable. Such impressive players. I really hope we get to see more of them, because I ain't gonna lie, I just want to see more Mega Man. That character is so cool. In fourth place, you have Anathema with wins on Peanut, Jazo, Kobe, and MPG. Anathema is in contention for the best Rob in the world right now, and he's definitely the most tech-savvy Rob in the world. Anathema is crazy. His gyro combos are unreal. He hits you once, and if he has a gyro in your hand, you're either dying or taking like 60-70%. It's actually crazy. And Rob is a character that you don't really need to lab these things out, right? You could just have your strong bread and butters, your broken neutral tools, great recovery, amazing pressure with like down tilts and all that. But Anathema, he's like, no, I'm taking this character limit. I'm going to try my best to win because I have the tools to do so. I just need to put in the work, and you can tell that the work is paying off because his combos are so clean. His neutral is crisp. Anathema is just such an amazing player. He's so fun to watch. Again, if you're like a lab rat and you like seeing the technical stuff, I would highly recommend watching some Anathema sets because when he hits players, it is just magic. In third place, you have Goblin with wins on Hwampi, Kobe, and Peanut. Goblin is just crazy. When they're playing well, it is so fun to watch. And sometimes they just activate this sixth sense. It's like they have a little oracle whispering in there, telling them what to do, the right choice every single time. It's actually insane. Some of the best defensive Roy that I've seen in this game. And when you think of Roy, that's not a character that you think of with defense. Like, okay, Roy has to be rushed down. They're in your face. They're doing a ton of damage. But when they're playing this bait and punish game, it is incredibly strong, and no one does it as good as Goblin. It's so impressive. Also want to give shout-outs to Goblin for getting third place at Beingstown. That's third place in a row, or 2 weekends in a row, getting third place at 2 pretty big regionals. The sets with Apollo Kage and Lima that they lost as well were incredibly competitive, and those are 2 crazy players. Goblin is really, really good. Another big placement for Moist this weekend. You have Aaron getting 13th at Major Upset. Now Goblin, third place at Battle of the South. You got to be happy for that one. In second place, you have Lima, who lost to MPG fairly early on. By early on, I mean in winner's quarters. But for a player of Lima's caliber, that is early on. And they got wins on Saudito, Vendetta, Mutace, Peanut, Anathema, and Apollo Kage in the grand finals. Lima is crazy. They are so good. They make me believe that Bayonetta is a viable character. And Bayonetta is not a bad character by any means. But Lima's been playing a lot of this camping style of Bayonetta where they're just like, okay, just approach me. I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to wait until you commit to something, because Bayonetta has an incredible whiff punish game as well as an amazing punish game just in general. So Lima, he's just sitting on one side of the stage. He's waiting for you to do something. He's dancing around. He waits till you commit. He doesn't strike until he knows he gets a hit, and then every single time he sees that hit, he perfectly hones in, does a ton of damage. The only struggle about Bayonetta is like, okay, I need to get a kill. This isn't really a problem when you are just getting every single opportunity. You're maximizing. It's like, okay, you're at 150. That's fine. I'm going to be running away from you like you were at 0 anyway. His game plan is not changing. He's staying consistent. It is so hard to deal with because of how good Bayonetta's mobility is, and I've just been really, really impressed by Lima. Both him and Blue are making me see the light in Bayonetta. This character is still very good, and he just looked out of his mind this weekend. And even though Lima was playing out of his mind, it wasn't quite enough to beat the top 10 player in the world, that is Apollo Kage, with wins on VOMC, Omega, MPG, Goblin, and Lima. Now, is Apollo Kage actually top 10? Low-key, he might actually be. Apollo Kage is crazy. Does he have the results to be top 10 right now? No, not quite yet. Big emphasis on yet, because I think he is either really close or already there, just hasn't had the reps to prove it yet. Apollo Kage is crazy. He's so talented. He's such a scary player to play against, incredibly consistent as well. I mean, we saw a taste from it at Summit where he 3-0'd Leo, reverse 3-0'd Gluto. Obviously, that's not a tournament, but I'm still not over it because it was such a crazy performance. Apollo Kage is unreal. He's the best Snake in the world by far right now. He's doing stuff that no other Snake is doing. He's doing stuff that I wouldn't even think of. The way he uses C4 is magic. He stickies someone out of nowhere. He'll be like fast falling for like 30 grenades, 30 attacking him. He doesn't care. He's putting a sticky on you. He's up tilting you. You're dying at like 40. Apollo Kage is just so talented. His movement is clean. His aggressive options off the ledge and edge guarding, he doesn't care. He just throws out axe kicks like it's nobody's business. Apollo Kage is so amazing. I need to see more of him. He's such an incredible player, so fun to watch again. He is so creative, and Snake's a character that allows you to express that creativity more than basically anyone in the game. Maybe Steve is a little bit more, but I'd argue Snake, honestly, at this point. Just the way Apollo Kage plays. It is unreal. It is art, and I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If there's any players that I left out from any of these tournaments, even the ones that we mentioned briefly at the start, please let me know down below. Everyone in this game is doing incredible right now, and a lot of people deserve shoutouts that aren't quite getting it. So yeah, thank you guys for everything. Sport's been absolutely unreal, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.